Okay, welcome folks. We are doing today rearranging equations by myself, Mr. Imran Iqbal from Imran Iqbal 121 Tutor. Let's have a look at these following four questions. Now in these four questions, we are going to be working out, I'll write it for you on the side exactly what we're looking for. So in this question here, oops, got the wrong tool. Let's go grab a brush. We're trying to make X the subject here. Here we're trying to make T the subject. And here we're trying to make X the subject, and here we're trying to make X the subject. So that's the task in this small video today. So we have to, at the moment, in this first question here, Y is the subject. Subject means Y equals. So we have to rearrange this equation so it says X equals at the end of our rearrangement. So that's what it should say. That's what it means. So at the moment the subject is Y, but we want this to be the subject. So we have to do some manipulation and some algebraic manipulation. Right, let's get rid of those two little lines. Okay, so I'll just focus on this one. If I want to make X the subject, X is currently being added by 6. Now we want to get rid of the add by 6. So opposite of add 6 is minus 6. So we end up with Y minus 6 is equal to X. Now, one thing students get a little bit kind of worried about is how come everything's back to front written? How come we got, rather than saying X equals the answer, how come we got Y minus 6 equals X? It's exactly the same. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So what we've done here, opposite of adding is minusing. So we grabbed the plus 6, we threw it over the equal sign. It was a plus. When you change side, what do? We change sign. Okay, now in this second question, we need to make T the subject. So I'm going to put a little arrow here to point at the T. That's what we want to be at the end of here. It should say here like this: T equals blah 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 blah. That's what we need. So let's get rid of all the blah 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 blah. Okay, and let's start the question proper. So T is being less. Now, when you look at these equations, I want you to look at these equations in the way that you look at a person. As an example, again to one of my students, when somebody walks in the room, what's the first thing you look at? You look at their face. When you look at these questions, the first thing that you start with, the first thing that you look at is the T, what you're trying to work out, what you're trying to make. So you look at the T first. The T is the face of the equation. That's the most important thing that we need to look at. So now look at the T. What's being done to the T? Now we have to try to read the equation. So T is being, first of all, it's been multiplied by 8. I call this always the first action. And then it's been minus by 7. We call this the second action. Now this identification of the order of the action is very important. It's very imperative. Now let me give you like another kind of example that you can think about. T is your best friend. He's being talked to by one of your other friends. Your other friend's called multiply by 8. And you're waiting on the side, or somebody else waiting on the side is called minus 7. So everybody has an order. This one's talking first all to the T, and this one's waiting. So this is the first, most important, first, and this is the second one. So you got to read the equation and read what's important, what's happening first, what's happening second, third, fourth, and so on. Now, when we solve an equation, we always solve in the reverse order. The first thing doesn't move first, it's the last thing moves first. So if I look at my equation here, the last thing that was done to the T was the minus 7. So that's the first one that qualifies for movement. So the opposite of minus 7 is, we have add 7. So let's rewrite it now. So you have S add 7 is equal to 8T. So that's the first movement. So we identify first action, second action, we move the second action first. So again, another example try to give you, you go to a shop, there's a queue. The person at the back of the queue gets served first, and then it works in the reverse order. That's what we're doing now. We know what the queue is. We know what's first and second, but we're not dealing with the first one first. We're dealing with the last one first. Now, what do we move now? Next. Now we move the time by 8. So time by 8 is the only thing left over. Opposite time by 8 is divide by 8. So we're now left with T. Leave the T under the T. Leave the equal under the equal. And we're now left with S plus 7 divided by 8. And that's the end of that second question. So these questions rely on us rely on the student being able to read the equation, identify the actions, and then move them in reverse order. They can give you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 actions. As long as you know how to read it, then you can undo it in reverse order easily. It's only when you don't read it and you start mixing things up, then you get lots of errors coming in there. So that's the end of that question. Question number 2. Okay, so question this one here, y equals 3x plus 7. Remember, we're looking at the x. X is the face of the question. We look at the face. What's been done to x? X has been times by 3 first, then it's been added by 7 second. So we always move the last action first. Opposite, add 7, take that over, becomes a minus 7. And then we do write down y minus 7. So we're left with 3x. And then we have opposite of time by 3 is divided by 3. So everything we're moving in order. Everything we are doing it step by step. There we go. So x is equal to y minus 7 over 3. Now don't get worried if you got the answer first and x after. It doesn't make any difference. Mathematically they're both the same thing. So don't get yourself wound up on that fact. So no, normally math questions don't be in that way round. Now the last question here on this small video here, y equals 10 minus 4x. Now as I said before, we always start by looking at the x. We want to make the subject, which is x here. I'm going to put into green for you to make it look more brighter. That's my subject. That's the face of the question. X has been timed by, this time, minus 4. And it's been added on by 10. Now, normally, if the thing, because it's been timed by minus 4, we don't really want to deal with minus 4. We want to make this whole thing positive. So, normally, we leave everything alone. And we leave x alone, but this time we're actually going to move the x. We're going to do an exception. So I'm going to highlight it in pink. This is our exception. So I want to make the minus 4x positive. The way to make it positive is to just take the other side, swap sides. So the minus 4x goes this way, and we grab the y, and the y goes the other way. So now on the left hand side here we have plus 4x. I'll put the plus there for emphasis only. Okay, all right. So on the right hand side we have the plus 10 already here. The plus y came over, that becomes a minus y. Okay, remember we want to work out the x. So x has been timed by 4. Opposite time by 4 is, take that over now, divide by 4. So x is equal to 10 minus y divided by 4. So normally the item that you want to work out, you don't move it unless it's negative, then you're trying to make it positive. So you're doing that, if that's exception, you don't normally do it that way. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe and hit that like button. Thank you.